I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
But in the kingdom, we're going to have that power like the angels, but we're going to be what you call extraterrestrial. In other words, we're not going to be regular terrestrial like we are right now. Because what happened is, in the ancient world, we had that power. We had that power when we were on a level like gods. But what happened is, the Most High took that power from us. Over the generations and over the years, the Lord took that power from us. But we're going to get that back. We're going to get that power back coming into the kingdom.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
When we think about the kingdom, most brothers think of like the small, minute terms. No, but the vastness of the kingdom, the greatness of the kingdom, dealing with the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and the information alone that we're going to receive when we get to the kingdom. That's on a whole nother level. Never mind the riches and the lands and the women and the children, and to be in your chariot, sipping some yayan, on your chalice, your gold chalice with all them rubies and emeralds and sapphires and, the different precious stones, going to places.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
No one, no matter how vivid a brother's imagination is, there's nothing in comparison to what's coming. You can't even imagine. You can't even paint it the picture or write it to words or give an explanation that even comes close to the majesty that's coming. We are destined for greatness in the new righteous kingdom.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
The brother with the most vivid imagination out there can't imagine what the kingdom of heaven has in store, what it's going to be like. What we're in the kingdom of heaven, as far as riches and having a good time and things of that nature, is just based off of our experiences in this world and what we think having a good time is and living the life is. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. There are pleasures forevermore at thy right hand. So the kingdom that's coming is going to be set up and established in righteousness. The Israelites are going to be changed. Thy people shall be all righteous. Not one Israelite is going to be lost, because the promise that the Most High made to Abraham was to all that seed. And the seed of the promise went from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. Every seed that came out of Jacob is a part of the ones that are going to receive the benefits that the Most High promised to blessed Abraham.
The transfer of rulership is coming, and the kingdom of heaven will be on earth. Righteousness will be spread throughout the whole four corners of the earth. Wickedness will be put down. According to the Holy Scriptures, Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Most High, is set to bring immortality to the nation of Israel, the elect, via establishing the tabernacle of David, as we talk about the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He is coming to take down this current world ruled by Esau, Edom, and establish a righteous kingdom, which is synonymous with the throne of David. That's scriptural, which is a government that's going to run this world in righteousness.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Push and get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, this edition of Morning News and Prophecy. All right, no good news, for Egypt, okay, which is AKA America. All right, and I got a few videos to go into, and I want to set the foundation, with the book of Isaiah 24 in the AMP, and go into a few things. All right, and what we're witnessing happen in real time. All right, is the Lord, is beginning to punish, okay, the inhabitants, okay, of Babylon. Okay, now the left, okay, the elites, which are, all right, the wicked rulership, this current, this world order, okay, where they're being used, by the Most High to punish the inhabitants, okay, of the world, especially over here in America, okay, and then they're going to be punished. You see? So what we have to understand, there's two tiers, to this punishment that's coming, all right, that we're seeing unfold real time, okay, and right now, all right, the inhabitants, the coming, all right, citizen, okay, is catching hell, okay, because this is the results of a tyrannical rulership. This is the results of Edomites being in authority. Okay, when this is all said and done, it's going to be known, all right, that this was the results, all right, where we at now, the pollution of the earth, the mass, okay, impoverishment, okay, of, the common person, all right, the violence, the destruction of food, the destruction of, the immune systems. You see, it's going to be known that it was this devil, it's the rulership of the devil that did this. Okay? And this is why he's constantly being called out. The Lord has raised up the prophets to call this man out. When the scriptures tell us to go into the gates of the nobles, okay, let's speak, of the rulership. The prophets are waving the hand at the rulership. Okay? And you people, all right, that partake and trust, okay, and agree, okay, with these certain policies, and because you'll complain about being impoverished, but then you follow the ways of wickedness, okay, because you have people that's alphabet, complaining about the economy. You see, people who are adulterers, people who, atheists and all these different things, okay, but they'll be complaining about the economy. Well, you're wicked. You're a product of this wicked system. Okay, this is why judgment is coming, because you're a product of this wicked system whom the Lord hates. Okay, so it goes into let's go into Isaiah 24:4. It said the earth dries up and crumbles away. The world dries out and crumbles away. The exalted, okay, of the people of the earth fade away. And what we're seeing is pride is being brought low. You know, the pride of 2024, then, you know, a lot of that pride from 2024 didn't survive in 2025. Okay, a lot of people, you know, have been humbled, okay, by recent events, okay, about uncertainties, about not knowing, you know, whether they're going to have a career or not knowing whether they're going to have a job that's constant. You know, imagine you being dependent on this system. This all you got, and you don't know if your government is going to shut down again. You don't know if you're going to get fired, replaced by AI. You know, you work for the government. You don't know if they're going to do away with this government department. Okay, you have people that have careers, professionals, people with bachelor's and master's degrees in food lines. Okay, it ain't no good news for Egypt, man. It only gets worse. All right, it only gets worse from here. Okay, so let's continue on. This is back in Isaiah 24:5 in the AMP. It said the earth is polluted by its inhabitants. Now it say the earth is polluted, but then it say under its inhabitants. Okay, and the footnote. So who's in rulership? Okay, Esau, Edom. So the earth is polluted under the rulership of Esau, Edom. Okay, and you go into this word polluted. Let's get this word polluted. Okay, and this man, you know, he literally pollutes the earth, but he pollutes the spirits and minds of people. Okay, he has defiled society, man. All right, you get this word polluted in the Hebrew. All right, it's hanap. All right, hanap, which goes into to be profane, to be defiled, to be corrupt. Okay, it says to be godless. Okay, to make godless, man. Okay, so this man has made the earth godless, man, because people depend on what technology, science, this economy. They worship themselves. This has become a godless society. Okay, under who? The rulership of Esau, Edom, because he's a godless man. Okay, so this man has made, you know, the earth godless, man, especially over here in the West. Okay, where people worship themselves more than anything. Okay, and it says especially, you go into the Strong's definition, it says especially in a moral sense, to corrupt greatly. All right, to greatly pollute. That's why this place is known as Babylon the Great. Okay, that's why this place is known as Babylon the Great, because you know, it pollutes greatly, it defiles greatly. Okay, so you people, all right, you're being brought into the judgment of a higher power. Okay, because this rulership has made you godless. Okay, then the Lord's going to judge, all right, this rulership. Okay. This is the times that we're in, and this is how these things are unfolding, man. So there's no good news, okay, coming, all right, to you American citizens, man. Okay, it said the earth also was polluted by its inhabitants because they have transgressed the laws, violated statutes, and have broken the everlasting covenant. Okay, the everlasting covenant, they transgressed the laws, okay, which this society has made its own laws, you know, and they give rights. Wickedness is protected. Okay, or scripture say, woe to thee, O sure, that hideth wickedness in thee. Okay, which speaking of America, man. All right, wickedness is not only tolerated, but it's protected, it's glorified, it's incentivized. Okay, women are incentivized to be promiscuous. Okay, men are incentivized to be serial killers. Okay, you're incentivized to be alphabet. Okay, so this man not only tolerates wickedness, but he promotes it, he glorifies it, he incentivizes it, you get rewarded. Okay, and you people have been partaking as long as you know you had enough money, okay, to party and BS. You didn't care how wicked, all right, this society was, man. Okay, but now, all right, that these devils, okay, is evaporating, okay, your resources. Now there's a complaint, okay, but now, man, prepare for it to get worse. Verse 6, therefore, a curse devours the earth, and those who live in it suffer the punishment of their guilt. Okay, so this place, all right, is being plagued from the Most High. Poverty is a plague. Okay, the fact that the Lord put a cruel Lord over you, well, that's a punishment from the Most High to put a cruel Lord over you. Okay, but then eventually the Lord's going to punish the cruel Lord. Okay, so this is what we're seeing. Okay, is the Lord plagued this place, and this place is being punished. Okay, and it's guilty. This place is guilty, man. Okay, therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned under the curse of the Most High's wrath, and a few people left, man. Okay, and it's leading all the way up into the nuclear destruction of America, man. You know, World War III, which is, you know, it's going to be devastating all throughout the earth. Okay, but America is going to be completely eradicated. All right, and the Lord, He's going to do, all right, a global depopulation. Okay, because the earth has become exceedingly proud, exceedingly wicked. Okay, exceedingly rebellious. You see, so that's why the Lord's finna open up. Okay, in judgment. You see, we're seeing Him open up in judgment. All right, now, let's go here to this first video real quick. Let me get back to that. So this is from the brother Hope for Leg 3, all right, from the brother Yaquab, all right, and the scroll continues. Okay, so let's go here, play this for a minute.
The skyrocketing cost of living has left millions of people working at full-time jobs or a number of part-time jobs still unable to afford a place to live. Ali Rogan is back with her conversation with journalist Brian Goldstone, author of There Is No Place for Us, about this growing nationwide crisis.
Thank you so much for joining us. In your work, you've come to know many people who may have more than one job, but have come into circumstances where they cannot afford to keep a roof over their heads. Certainly, each person has a unique story, but are there any common threads in their experiences that you've been able to identify?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I do argue in my book that in cities across America today, in one city after another, a low-wage job really is homelessness waiting to happen. And what they have in common is they all...
He said a low-wage job is homelessness waiting to happen, man. You know, a low-wage job is homelessness waiting to happen. Okay, and you factor in, you know, inflation. Okay, and you factor in, you know, the cost of living skyrocketing, wages are stagnant or even decreasing. you know, because the job market is full of people desperate for jobs. Okay, so what do the corporations do? They lower the pay. Okay, because they understand that jobs are in demand now, not workers. Okay, so he said a low wage job is just homelessness waiting to happen, man. Okay, so people that were, you know, 2022 and 2023, okay, functioning, okay, citizens, okay, are now living in cars. You know, there's an epidemic of people living in cars, people getting RVs, and people, you know, going back home with their parents, and okay, so the American dream is a nightmare now. You know, the dream is out the window. Everyone is going from chasing the dream to survival mode now. Okay, and the next mode is going to be chaos. All right, because they went from, you know, as people are transition from a dream to a nightmare. Well, the next okay phase, okay, is going to be civil unrest. Okay, so we're seeing, you know, a major transfer, okay, of people, all right, fighting, you know, people trying to thrive, okay, and establish themselves in this society, to people just going into survival mode. Okay, so let's play this.
Belong to the low wage workforce, and it's not just that their wages are too low to keep up with the skyrocketing cost of having a place to live. It's also that the jobs themselves have become increasingly volatile and precarious, where they often don't know how many hours they're going to be getting from one week to the next. Their employers give them 29 hours a week because at 30 they would be eligible for basic benefits like health insurance or sick leave. And yeah, the cost of housing, rents are just very, very quickly outpacing what their incomes are. So that's kind of the backdrop that that defines these people's existence.
For a long time, the stereotypical perception of homelessness is that it is something that happens to people on the fringes of society, and that may have never been accurate. But what have you found out in your reporting about the reality of what it's like to be without a home?
Yeah, I mean, one really astonishing truth about homelessness in America is that what we see on the street is really the tip of the iceberg. There's this entire world of homelessness that is out of sight, that has been rendered invisible. And within that shadow realm of homelessness, as I refer to it, it is overwhelmingly populated with people, again, who are part of the low-wage workforce, who families with children. And these are people who are working and working and working some more, and it simply is not enough to secure one of life's most basic necessities, a roof overhead. I mean, to be sure, in the richest nation on the planet, nobody should be without housing. But these pernicious myths and stereotypes that homelessness is just caused by addiction or it's just caused by mental illness, it really is not borne out by the reality on the ground. And indeed, often mental illness and addiction is a consequence of this form of insecurity, not its cause.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the lives of the homeless workers are day in and day out? And also, do those lives get harder during the holidays?
I think it's really easy for terms like the housing crisis or the homelessness crisis to become kind of abstract and to lose touch with just the acute human toll of this growing catastrophe in America. You know, what homelessness looks like today isn't just the person sleeping outside the parking lot of a convenience store or a Walmart or a Target. It's often the very cashier or worker stocking the shelves in those stores. And they often have children at the end of their shifts. They don't know where they're going to be going. They have to tell their children, I don't know where we're staying tonight. Maybe they're sleeping in a car in that very parking lot. And, you know, there's a term that public health experts use to refer to the kind of stress that children and parents are exposed to in these circumstances. And that term is toxic stress. This is stress that is so chronic, so debilitating, that it can fundamentally alter a child's long-term development. That is the human toll of this insecurity, and it is the consequence. It's the toll of what has happened when millions, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of families in this country have been flung into what a case manager in my book refers to as the housing Hunger Games.
This is your daily update on the economy. First of all,
now he spoke about, the toxic stress, and these things are intentional, this stress, because when you're stressed out, because it's creating an atmosphere of desperation, the whole thing is to create an atmosphere of desperation, because that sets the stage for him to be the hero. So he's creating this desperation while he's rolling out, all right, this digital infrastructure. Okay, so when he gets ready to present, all right, this new world order as a savior, people are going to be extremely desperate. Okay, so when you look at, I looked, just looked in the chat, just asked, I said, what circumstances could cause mental fatigue or mental torment in this modern capitalistic, all right, society? Okay, it says many circumstances in modern capitalist society can create mental fatigue and mental torment. These pressures often, all right, interact, stacking up over time. Here are some of the most common drivers, man. And he's been gradually pushing society in a particular way, putting people on edge, I say putting people in survival mode. Okay, it says chronic overwork and hustle culture. You're constantly being, pushed to destroy yourself. Okay, and they say, well, this is productivity, destroying yourself. Which I got a video from Shahid Bosman, and he made the point, okay, on how America is the only culture to where you need a motivational speaker just to go to work every morning. People listen to these motivational speakers, and it's a whole industry, okay, to keep you just, extremely productive and active, okay, in this system, man. He says $1 billion industry for motivational speakers in this society, because people have to be prepped to go do normal things. People have to be psyched up to go do normal things. Okay, then they psych you up to destroy yourself, man. The society, this hustle culture, they call it. All right, is meant for you to trade all your labor. All right, because that's the only resource that they value. All right, or from the masses is labor. Okay, that's why as soon as they get a robot to replace your labor, out of there. Okay, the only thing that they'll least value from the masses is labor. Okay, that's why it's a system where you trade your labor, okay, for your essentials. Okay, that's the system that the devil has created, to where the masses are trading their labor for essentials, and he owns most of the essentials. Okay, so going back into it, says constant pressure to be productive or optimize every minute, long working hours, unpaid overtime, blurred boundaries between work and home, gig economy, instability, leading people to juggle, all right, multiple jobs, feeling guilty or anxious during rest because rest is seen as unproductive. Okay, so this man has created a culture to where you feel guilty if you're not destroying yourself, running yourself raggedy, multiple jobs, if you ain't got this going on, if you're not an entrepreneur slash this slash that, got this, that stock market, I got this going. Okay, so they make it feel as if you're not, all right, constantly active every second of the day. Okay, that you're being unproductive. Okay, it says the effect, it says it creates burnout, exhaustion, emotional numbness, reduce cognitive capacity, man. Okay, just running people raggedy, man. Because even in the scriptures, it speaks about wearing out the saints, because Jake catches the worst, because Jake has the less, all right, disposable income out of everyone. Okay, so Jake is really dependent on, hustle and bustling. Okay, just to make ends meet. Okay, but if he can keep you in survival mode, okay, you're going to be open up to any suggestion. Okay, he keeps people in desperation and survival mode, so you can be open up to any type of suggestion. Okay, it says financial insecurity. It says high cost of living, rent, food, healthcare, education, stagnant wages with combined inflation. All right, debt, student loan, medical bills, credit cards, fear of unemployment, and job precarity. All right, it says these symptoms create chronic stress, despair, rumination. All right, rumination. All right, a sense of being trapped. Okay, and he's going to present, okay, a digital. Here it is. He's gonna, because this old world is a prison within itself. It's a prison world. Everyone's in prison to debt. Okay, in prison to the grid. Okay, so what he's gonna do with this new world order? All right, he's sabotaging the old prison system, making it terrible, while he's building a new digital prison system. So he's gonna present the new world as liberty. He's gonna open the cage. All right, so you can come out the old world, and then he's gonna present the new world as freedom, and then he's gonna shut the cage on your ass again in the new world. Except this time it's gonna be digital. This time, nigga, I want to keep up with every breath you take. Okay, carbon footprint. And oh yeah, we got a social credit system. All right, so all these little cute remarks on the internet. Okay, these little outbursts at work. Okay, it's gonna go against you, buddy. Okay, so this is what this devil is setting up. Okay, a situation to where people are going to jump. All right, out of the fry pan into the pot. You see, you're just gonna get cooked in a new way. Okay, it says competitive pressures. It says constant comparison with peers in work, social life, and consumption with social media plays a part in it. Okay, you look at social media all day, and you're always trying to do this, and trying to, social media, has created a lot of depression. Because as you look at your peers and different, because we're not supposed to have this much access to everyone. And that's why in the kingdom you're not going to have this, all right, access to everybody and how they live. That's their business. Okay. In the kingdom, people are not going to have this access to each other, private life. Okay, people are not going to be able to just, market their private life. Okay, this is not, all right, not natural, man. Okay, this man's technology has created a very unnatural synthetic world. Okay, and it has a major effect on the psyche of the masses, man, to where you have people in constant competition and comparison, okay, with everyone else. All right, it said performance metrics, KPIs, and surveillance tools at work, college administration, pressure, and academic competition. But oh yeah, information overload, endless news cycles, social media, and digital notification, exposure to global crisis and political polarization without breaks, conflicting. Okay, it says conflicting information leading to cognitive fatigue. He intentionally, floods you with all the different news and misinformation and, crisis, to keep you in a state, okay, of constant fear and, and also desensitize you to particular things as well. Okay, but all this is being done, okay, for the devil to present a new way, okay, as a savior from all of this, man. Okay, so let's let's go back to this video because let's go here.
the economy is shit. Let's get started. More people are not being able to pay their electric bills. Auto repossessions are skyrocketing. Home foreclosures have jumped to 20% higher than last year. Medicare is going up. Obamacare has been canceled. Trucking and logistics and manufacturing are tanking. We are seeing a record number of bankruptcies, both personal and corporate, not to mention farm bankruptcies. Farmers are still begging. Cattle ranchers, they're screwed too. Now, nurses are no longer professional.
And in their new world order, it won't be private farms. Okay? All your food will be from them. Okay? Whether it's GMO, all right, or whether it's just straight, lab food. Okay? This is where the devil is going. So we're seeing a gradual, takedown, and these things have sped up, under this Trump era. Okay? Because as Trump has hyped you up, has hyped up the masses of some type of great American revival, and it's the exact opposite, man. It's the grand closing of America. Okay, under this Trump administration. Okay? So in this new world order, all right, there ain't gonna be no farmers market. Okay? It's gonna be, all right, a few major corporations, all right, that's in control of all the distribution of food. Okay? Based on what your social credit score. Okay? You're gonna have to behave a certain way, okay, to get a steak dinner. You see? And then that steak more likely gonna be 3D printed, man. This is a terrible system this man is trying to roll out. And that's why, the good news is that he loses, man. Okay? The closer this devil gets to pulling this off, the closer the Lord gets to destroying this, man. Okay? And this whole system, man. Okay?
Teachers are no longer professional. We are spending billions of dollars of money we don't have. Good luck Christmas shopping. You're now paying an extra tax of 10 to 147% on goods that you're going to purchase. Oh, and the biggest thing, according to ADP private payroll, the U.S. economy lost 13,500 jobs every single week for the last 4 weeks. You heard me correctly. Tell me, are we great yet?
Can we start making things affordable again? Like, what has happened in the last 4 years that stuff is just not affordable anymore? Houses, cars, groceries, like everything is so expensive. And it doesn't seem to be going down. Like, car prices keep going up, home prices keep going up, and yet people are still making the same amount of money. So nothing's really changed in that regard. The median income for working class families is still almost the same as it was 5 to 10 years ago. And yet the price of everything has gone up triple, sometimes quadruple. I remember you used to be able to buy a car for under $20,000. I don't even think you can find a car for under 20 unless it's super used. And the price of a home right now, if you can even afford one, is through the roof. It's ridiculous. Like, why is everything so expensive?
Tell us to be smarter with our money. Meanwhile, the grocery store, you can't even get 6 items under $100. You need to buy a house. It's cheaper, but I'll get denied for that mortgage, even though my rent is more than what the mortgage would be. They say it's my debt to income ratio, and yet the United States' debt to income ratio is higher than mine could ever be. They're trillions of dollars in debt. I'm only thousands of dollars in debt, and yet it's holding me down. Are we great yet, America? Are you going to sit here and scream that Daddy T is making everything so much better when our lives are still as equally as fucked up as they have been for the past 4 years? And they say, oh, give it time. But the promises were day one. And here we are, 200-something days in. I'm not really into politics and into screaming about injustice and what we need to do and what we don't need to do. You all talk about you want to avoid a socialist society, and yet we're living in one and you can't see it. We are dependent upon the wealthy. They are not dependent upon us, the consumer. We live every single day to profit them, and that is all they care about. The system is designed to fuck over the middle and lower class. Him putting no tax on tips and no tax on overtime is great, but then again, he gave tax breaks to the billionaires who already charge us out of our fucking houses. There's people living under bridges. There's people living in their fucking cars. There's mothers out here with their kids on the side of the road holding up signs saying that they're hungry because they can't afford to live because of these tax breaks they're giving these billionaires. But heaven forbid that billionaire pay their equal share. This is a socialist society we are living in. You just can't see it.
And it's just gonna get worse. You know, like I said, it's just gonna keep gradually getting worse. All right. People are gonna because you reach a certain level of desperation, you don't care anymore. You know, my brother can post that in what's that in Second Ezra 15, you know, because of lack of bread. I think Second Ezra 15, like 18, 19. Okay, because it's gonna reach a certain level of desperation to where nothing's gonna matter. Okay, and everybody gonna be with the shit. Okay. That's why I like you know, Eve was talking about during the food stamp outage, you know, how they were just finna go, you know, take shit. And I like, well, you gotta understand, you live in a world where everybody gonna be with the shit. Okay. Everybody is on edge and all right, on the brink of spazzing out. You know, and that's why we have to be mindful, you know, in this society, how we move, be circumspect, you know, be strategic in these times. Okay, because the mood of the earth, the mood of society is going to continue to get more and more on edge, man. Okay, because things are only going to gradually get worse. Okay, this is coming from the top. Okay, ultimately the top, which is the Most High. Okay, is bringing these things to pass. All right, what's that? Zechariah 8:10. Brother can post that as well. This is Isaiah 30:3. It said, therefore, the safety and protection of Pharaoh will be your shame. And this is in the AMP. Okay, because people have trusted, you know, in this society, in this system. Okay, they trusted in this economy. Okay, they trusted in the dollar. Okay, people, you know, have, you know, because people claim to have generation wealth because they have a lot of dollars. Well, that's a currency of Egypt. Okay, they're going to switch that currency. Then you're not going to have anything. Okay, so people that trust, you know, in this place being up and running. Okay, they trust in, you know, the military, you know, defending it from, you know, any harm. Or, all right, whatever they trust in. Okay, it's going to be their shame and the refuge in the shadow of Egypt, your humiliation and disgrace. Okay, so we're going to see people extremely humiliated and disgraced. They're trusting in this place. They finna be down bad, man. You know, people that have, you know, have poured their everything in this society, they're about to be down bad. Okay, and this is all judgment from on high. Okay, a lot of people are finna be scratching their head trying to figure it out. How did we get to this point? Okay. Because a lot of people still operate in the delusion of, you know, things are going to rebound. Okay, when they're only getting worse. You know, that's going to go into this next video I'm going to play. This is chosen ones are Israelites. Second Ezra 15:18 said, because of the pride of the cities, okay, because of their pride, the city shall be troubled and the houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. You know, going back to pride. See, the Lord's addressing pride on every level. Okay, and the pride of the coming America has been off the charts, and that's going to be humble. You see, you entitled, you know, narcissistic, okay, self-centered Americans, see, their pride is going to be humble, all right, through suffering. This is just the beginning. You see, this is just the beginning. This is gradually going to get worse, man. All right, and it doesn't take nothing but a few events, all right, to turn this place into, all right, a horror house, man. Okay, verse 15, it says, yeah, second verse 15 and 19, this from the brother, all right, Yash, Yah, if I'm saying it right, Yash Layah, 144K. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and great tribulation, man. And this the environment, all right, that this the atmosphere that this society is gradually going into. Okay, to where people are catching hell, surviving, to where people not going to be able to survive. It's coming a time where they're going to be completely priced. Yeah, people are going to be priced out of even the essentials. You know, people are not even going to have, you know, enough, okay, for the essentials, man. Okay. Imagine, imagine how played people are going to feel. You know, they worked all these years and, you know, they went to college and they did everything that they was told to do. They followed the blueprint for the American dream, and now they can't afford housing. They can't afford groceries. Their children are going without. Okay? They can't pay a light bill. They're in a cold house or a hot house. You see? But then there's people with substance down the street. Okay? So this is the atmosphere that's being created, and it's intentionally, man, because they want people to take each other's heads off. All right, open it's the Lord that's orchestrating this, man. That's why you go to Zechariah 8 and 10 and said, for before these days there was no hire for man, nor any hire for beast, neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. All right, for I said all men, all right, for I said all men, everyone, all right, everyone against his neighbor. Okay, so it's the Lord, okay, that's ultimately setting this up, this violent atmosphere. Okay, this atmosphere of violence, you know, of desperation. Okay, of people being on edge. Okay, so it's the Lord that's setting that atmosphere up. Okay, because he wants, he wants these people to judge each other. Okay, he wants these people to be, you know, at each other's throat. Okay, and the one thing about, you know, America is a very delusional society. Okay, and he's gonna go into it. All right, so he's gonna go like on a 3-minute rant, you know, discussing that. Okay, the delusion of Americans, man. Okay, and their lack, you know, to be serious about anything. Okay, but the Lord gonna force them to be serious through, all right, through lack, through desperation. Okay, the times that we coming in, people are going to be forced to be serious, man. All right, because America is a very immature, playful, all right, society. Everything's a joke, you see, but the Lord gonna create circumstances to where they're gonna have to be serious, man. Okay, so let's play this.
The Muslim world. This is a group in the Muslim world that has tried to dupe us. To varying degrees, they've been able to do that to many people. But your entire society in the West is dedicated to duping you. And the extent to which they have succeeded is truly breathtaking. The success of the Muslim Brotherhood has been very limited compared to what your society has done to you. I mean, literally, things can be happening right in front of your eyes and you don't see it for what it is. You always recede into narratives and debates about narratives, debates between narratives. And no one wants to, or no one is even capable of actually looking at reality. And see, this is what I mean about you have to have the ingredients in order to make a meal. If you want to make a meal, you have to have the ingredients for that meal. So in your society, they don't even need to keep you out of the kitchen, you understand? They can give you the pots and pans. They can let you in the kitchen. They can give you access to the oven. It doesn't matter. They can even give you the recipe, because you're not going to make anything at the end of the day, because they have made sure that you don't have the ingredients to make anything. Look at your society right now. The most enlightened people in your society, okay? The most enlightened people in your society are railing against the elites, right? The elites control everything. But you haven't even clocked the reality. You haven't even clocked the fact that the elites are literally dismantling your whole society. They're done with America. Your problem isn't that they own and control everything. Your problem is that they are discarding it. They're discarding all of it. They treated your whole society as disposable, and now they're throwing it out. They're disposing of it now. But see, you can't imagine a world in which America is not the center of gravity. You can't imagine a world in which the United States of America is actually marginalized and unimportant. You can't imagine a world in which America is de-developed, is de-industrialized, is impoverished and conflict-ridden, and is just nothing more than a wasteland. You can't imagine a world where everyone in the world outside the United States looks at America and says, thank God I'm not in that miserable police state, tyrannical, backwards, low IQ country. You can't imagine that, but that's where you're heading. It's already moving in that direction. You're still telling yourselves that everyone wants to come to America. Talking about America, immigrants are taking over the United States. Meanwhile, global immigration to America, or even interest in going to America, has been declining for years. While American immigration and interest, Americans moving, I'm saying, Americans' interest in moving out of America has been increasing for years. Everyone wants to come to America. Meanwhile, for Muslim countries, less than 1% of their populations ever apply for visas to America.
Yeah, man. So he made, some heavy points, all right, about America being discarded by the elites. And brothers been saying that through the spirit, and people don't even understand. You see, they're just now finding out that the elites run everything. Well, by the time, now they're dismantling it. Okay? Yeah, some people have found out that the elites are, running the show. But now they're dismantling the show. Okay? With you in it. You see? They're on something else. You see, Americans have been, duped like no other. Okay, they pampered you with convenience. Okay, entertainment. They marketed America as this, if you're not in America, you're missing out. How blessed you are to be in America. Okay, so they market America as just a blessing from God. Okay, and everyone else is just a bunch of savages, underdeveloped, poor, no running water, no food, eating grass, just barbaric. Everything else, once you leave America, it gets very barbaric, ancient world, no niggas ain't got no shirts, you see, running from lions, that's how they market the rest of the world. Okay, because you're just this advanced, excellent, superior society in the earth. Okay. Meanwhile, you have less liberty, okay, than a lot of countries in the earth. Because when America speak of liberty, it's liberty for you to do wickedness, man. That's where liberty comes in there, for you to do wickedness. Okay. But when it comes to trying to create wealth, you can't do that in this capitalistic society. Okay. They let a few, slip through the cracks to keep the delusion going like it's achievable. But no, you really can't move around economically like that. Okay, if you're a man, you want a big family, well, this society ain't set up for you to have no big family. Okay, because the accommodations are so high. Okay, for a big family. Okay, if you want to live off grid, well, this society doesn't accommodate that like that, man. You gotta catch hell. You catch hell trying to, you're demonized for doing that. Okay, but they'll tell you you're free. Okay, they tell you have this liberty, but it's a liberty to destroy yourself, man. All right, you can go drink all you want, you can snort all the cocaine and have random sex, you can do it all you want. Okay, you can party all you want, you can spend and consume all you want. No one will say anything. Okay, but if you a farmer, niggas show up, say, look, we want to build a data center. Okay, and you don't have the liberty to decline. They have what they call eminent domain. Okay, so they sold, this American dream. Okay, the what they say, the pursuit of freedom, happiness, and liberty. Okay, when it was never about that. All right, and you people have been so pampered that you don't understand what's to come. Isaiah 47:8, and this is in the AMP. It says, "Now, then hear this, you who live a luxuriant life, you who dwell safely and securely." Okay, so America has been used to living this first world, in this first world society with all the perks of first world privilege, all the perks of having, the American dollar is the world reserve. Okay, they've been used to this purchasing power. Okay, of the dollar. All right, no wars in America. You see, there's been generations. You had the Civil War. Okay, but since then there's been no wars. It's just been you've been able to dwell safely. All the wars been fought abroad. Okay, so no one's has been trying to invade you or anything. So you just been able to kick it. Okay, it says, "Who say in your heart, all right, I am the queen, and there is none else besides me." And see, America has a very, people in America have a very American centric, viewpoint. Okay, like he said, where Americans think that America is the centerpiece of the world and nothing else matters. All right, the conditions of the earth don't matter as long as the party continues in America. Okay, it says, "I shall not sit as a widow, nor know the loss of children, but these two things shall come, all right, to you abruptly." Okay, these things don't come abruptly, man. All right, the Most High gonna stop the party, and one day the loss of children and widowhood, they will come on you in full measure. Okay, there's a hell of a judgment coming to America, man. All right, and America, okay, is gradually going into chaos, man. Okay, because the next phase after desperation is going to be violence, man. All right, and then it's going to be violence, and then eventually it's going to be war. All right, and in this war, all right, America gets turned to a desert. Okay, they had this term in America, let the good times roll. Well, now let judgment roll. Okay, and it's gonna come in this full measurement. Okay, and America has a hell of a tab. Okay, and that's why it's gonna be so bad here. It says, "In spite of your many claims of power through your sorceries, in spite of the great power of your enchantments, man, because this place was founded on enchantments, sorcery, witches, warlocks. That's why DC is so satanic, and the layout is based on Freemasonry. Okay, all this ancient mysticism and witchcraft. Okay, but all this finna fail. Okay, and America is going to be the worst place to be. All right, but they duped you as if you, all right, was in the best place to be. Okay, and not thinking about, all right, the time of judgment that's prepared for this place. Okay, so this is let me see that I had what I pulled up. Let me see. So I just want to go here real quick before we close out. So I just looked up something with I want to look up Gaddafi. Okay, before. All right, I want to look up Libya. So I asked it, living conditions in Libya. All right, during Gaddafi and after Gaddafi. All right. So it says living condition during Gaddafi, stability and security. It says Libya was an authoritarian police state, but it was highly stable. All right, internally, violent crime and militia activity. And see, they say it was an authoritarian police state. They were just strict. Okay, and you had to be strict to protect your citizens from the West. That's another thing. A lot of these leaders that they demonize, all right, these leaders will be protecting uh, their population from, okay, the corruption, okay, and the criminal West, man. Okay, it says violent crime and militia activity were low because the regime tightly controlled society. Political dissent was harshly, all right, suppressed. It said, because Esau, he'll try to create an uprising, and those things were suppressed, to where he couldn't do it was hard for him to do a coup in Libya. That's why they just they just sent the Air Force, special forces in and got him out of there, because they couldn't just form a coup. They couldn't just create. See, when you got freedom of press, you can create lies and propaganda. On the flip side, truth comes out, and that's why he's trying to censor truth now. But when you have, free press, that's also an avenue for the devil, to push propaganda, okay, and enchantments. Okay, but when the country doesn't have free press, it's hard for the devil to, plant seeds, okay, of rebellion. Okay, it says Libya had one of the highest GDP per capita in Africa for most of this period due to oil wealth. It says Gaddafi subsidized basic goods heavily. There was little diversification. Almost all wealth came from oil. Now listen to this: it says social services and welfare. Gaddafi's government offered free education, free healthcare, subsidized electricity, fuel, and food, interest-free housing loans. In some cases, houses were allocated by the state. When you would be married, all right, you will get free housing. Okay, and then American, they help pay your electricity bill, your fuel, all right, and your food. It says education and literacy. Literacy rates in women's education improved significantly. University education expanded. They were tightly ideologically controlled. Yeah, and they will control them from Western ideology, man. Okay, which was great poison. It says infrastructure. It said major investments were made. Example, the great man-made river water project, roads, electricity, and sanitation were, all right, relatively, all right, reliable. Okay. So, let me see. Because, they're still demonizing too, But it just shows you how outside of America, man, you had governments that's, they had better setups, for their citizens, man. All right, and I believe Gaddafi probably was a Jake, Only Jake really got compassion like that, to put everybody on. All right, but yeah, man, America has this veil as if you're getting the best deal, and this goes into like a harlot, a harlot. Her thing is to, convince you that you're getting the best deal by dealing with her. Okay, it's there's a million harlots, but you getting the best deal with dealing with her, and that's, the hoax, okay, of America. All right, is that look, this is the best deal you're gonna get. It's the best experience you're gonna get. Okay, the damn harlot, man. Okay, it says Isaiah. This the brother GMS in the truth Orlando, the brother Isaiah. Isaiah 26:7 says, "The way of the just is uprightness." All right, thou most upright, those way the path of the just. It says, "Yeah, in the way of thy judgment, O Lord, we have waited for thee. The desire of our souls is to thy name and to the remembrance, okay, of thy righteousness, man." Okay, so it's time for righteousness to be established in the earth, man. You know, corruption has ran this place to the ground to where the only thing left is judgment. That's why the Lord is just letting this thing spiral out of control. You know, he's letting things, get to the point of no return. All right, for the sake of judgment, man. All right, and establishing righteousness, man. Because the transition from from Esau to Jacob is going to be from wickedness to righteousness, man. Okay, but there's a punishment, okay, for you heathens within this transition, beginning with Esau and the rest of you heathens. You gotta go through a process of being punished. Esau gonna be done away with, okay, but you heathens, you're gonna go through a process of being punished for partaking, okay, in the wickedness of the devil, man. Okay, and righteousness and peace is gonna be to Israel, beginning with the elect. Okay, Isaiah 26:9. It said, "Will my soul have I desired thee in the night? Yeah, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness," man. Okay, so when the Lord establishes true judgment in the earth, these heathens are going to learn righteousness. And that's why that 1,000 years is going to be instilling righteousness, man. It's going to be a rigorous captivity. It's going to be it's going to be strict. You know, that's how they'll say that these certain leaders will be dictators. Nah, they will strict, okay, to keep order for everybody. You see? So everybody can benefit. You see? So yeah, it's gonna be the earth is gonna go back to strictness and righteousness, man. Okay? So Yahushua is coming back to establish righteous judgment in the earth, man. It's gonna be with a rod of iron, man. It's gonna be with power. Okay, it's gonna be enforced. Okay, it's gonna be a strictness in the earth, man. All right, because Esau turned the earth to a wicked playground. Okay, and you see the results, man. So that's the point. Just want to get into that this morning. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. We'll give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.